Rev up your engines!
Carlos Garcia says, Scotty, what are your opinion on Jaguars? Big fan. Okay, they were great cars historically. You know, in the 40s and 50s, they were state-of-the-art. But since the 1960s, they're known as endless money pits. And they've actually gotten worse over time because a while back, that Indian company, Tata, the one that makes those cars in India that cost like $1,600, they bought Jaguar and Land Rover. And if anything, they're worse than they are today than they used to be in the 60s. They're endless money pits. They're beautiful cars. You know, for a while, Ford owned them, and then they lost so much money, and then they sold it to Tata. I wouldn't buy one of their beautiful cars, but if you want a fun toy, and you can buy a used one with lower mileage, and you're only going to drive it on the weekend, hey, have some fun. You can get them all day long for $1,000, $2,000. And if they still run good, you can have a good toy. Just don't buy one of those and think you can use it as a daily driver. I mean, there's guys in there that they take out the Jag engine and transmission, put in a Chevy or a Ford V8, and then they run great. So, I mean, there's lots of things you can do because you can get them dirt cheap when they're old. Nobody with their right mind pays much for them when they're used. Ryan's Rev says, Scotty, what's your opinion on a GMC Yukon? Are they reliable? Okay, the older ones were relatively reliable, just like the older Suburbans were pretty reliable. But then the problem came, they started making them cheaper. And that's just what General Motors has done. So I wouldn't buy a late model one. If you wanted something like that, I'd go Ford or Toyota. I wouldn't buy a GM. But the older ones were more reliable. That's just how the world was. Jose Cicada says, I got an '06 Chevy Monte Carlo. It's got 70,000 miles. Any known issue. It drives okay for the most part, but it's hiccups now and then. Sometimes it feels like it has trouble accelerating. Okay, first thing you want to do is pressure test the fuel pump after changing the fuel filter. Fuel filters are clogged, pumps are good, we can do that. Now, it's 13 years old and you only got 70,000 miles, so it's low mileage. The transmissions in those things, automatics, are really weak. So, I mean, just baby the transmission and take care of it. That's the main maintenance you want to do on that. Because I would never buy that car, but you have it and it's low mileage, so you might as well take care of it. Because if you try selling it now, you're going to get nothing for a 13-year-old Monte Carlo with 70,000 miles. Nobody's going to give you much, so you might as well take care and buy it. Who knows? You might got one that was made on a Wednesday that's in better shape. Eli Hernandez says, Scotty, what would you recommend as my first car? A 2001 Lexus ELS 300 or a V6 Mustang from 1999? Oh, I'd go for the 01 Lexus because those things can run forever. I have my wife, I got her a 2002 Lexus, and she loves the car. It's the best car we ever bought. Now I bought it used from a customer of mine when his father died. It only had 60,000 miles, and I paid $4,000 for it because it needed a little body work, and I paid my body guy $1,000 to take all the dings out and paint the bumpers. So it looked great, but that car can run forever if you take care of it. I'm the last of my kind. Hey, maybe you're not. I may be one too. Scotty, I have a Ford Crown Victoria, 2006, 100,000 kilometers, and the main problem is when I take it on long drives, sometimes when I stop the car, the engine shuts down. If it's a real long drive, that thing's 13 years old, a lot of times the fuel injectors will get a little bit off. So when it's hot, they spray a little bit better more gas in the engine. Well, when you're driving down the road, the engine doesn't care all that much. But when you come to a stop, if it's too much fuel, it'll stall the engine out. Now, one way you can check that, if it does stall out, and then you start back up and black smoke comes out of the back, yes, then it is stalling out from too much fuel. Now, if black smoke doesn't come out of it when it starts back up, it could be the fuel pump. You could pressure test that. Because if it's getting no fuel, it won't smoke black when it restarts because it's not getting too much fuel. It's getting not enough. That's a good way you can check it. Inspired by Keith says, Scotty, I have an '08 Honda Accord with an oil leak even after replacing the valve cover gasket, VTEC solenoid gasket, oil filter housing gasket. What could it be? Well, it could be a lot of things. Generally, it's the crank or the cam seals on those. But I have a video that's called Finding Engine Oil Leaks. Watch that. You get a little ultraviolet leak dye. You can buy a kit that has dye, yellow sunglasses, and a little UV light. Then, when you put the stuff in, you drive it around for 15 or 20 minutes. Now, it's best if you do that at night, because at night it's dark out. Then, when you check it with a UV light, you can see the glowing green a lot easier at night. In the daytime, it's harder to see, especially in broad sunlight. Or if you have a dark garage that you can pull it in. But you want to check it when it's darker, because when it's real dark, then the dye really lights up great when it's dark outside, with the sun not shining on, you really get a better view of where it's leaking from, and that'll always show you where the leak's coming from. Whoppy says, my Golf Mark II GTI 16 valve will not idle normal when it's cold. When the oil temperature is hot, it drives fine. Okay, first thing you want to do, since it's a Volkswagen, if it runs poor when it's cold, but when the oil temperature gets hot, it runs fine. Could be a worn engine. You want a mechanic like me to do what's called a wet and dry compression test. They do a compression test of the engine, dry. Then you squirt a little oil on each cylinder and do it. And see if the pressure goes up or down. They can tell you what shape the engine is inside. Because it could be your engine's just flat wearing out. Now, if the engine isn't flat wearing out, then do my video, how to clean fuel injectors without removal. Could be dirty fuel injectors. When an engine is cold, it has to get the perfect amount of gas or it'll run crappy. But once an engine's warmed up, if the fuel is a little bit off, it can still run pretty good. So you'd want to try that if the engine checks out to be still in good shape.
So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.